Welcome back to another episode of What I Watched This Month. Today, I'm going to be talking about all the films I watched in March. I watched quite a bit this month, so we're just going to hop right into it. First thing I watched here was Mirror, directed by Tarkovsky. Of course, this is my first Tarkovsky film, and I wanted to like this more than I did. I feel like this is something that will grow on me if I, watch it in the future. It's kind of just the story of a guy's life. That's, I feel like, a very blunt and very simplistic way to put it, but that's kind of what it is. It has some very, I don't know, it deals in memories a lot, and it deals in, kind of a subjective telling of those memories. A lot of it is non-linear. A lot of it kind of feels like it's jumping around a lot. There's a lot of, symbolic imagery throughout this entire film. Honestly, it was a bit too slow for me. Maybe, again, this is something that will grow on me with more watches. Maybe I just got to get used to Tarkovsky's style. I enjoyed it. I just, it was a little bit too slow for my liking. Next thing I watched here was The Moment. I gave this 3 stars. I didn't enjoy this as much as I expected to. This is about, Charli XCX and her album Brat. Kind of, it's fully scripted. It's fully fictional, but it's kind of shot in a documentary style, so it feels kind of gritty and real for a lot of it. But yeah, it's kind of about, her having to make sacrifices because there's this hot shot director that comes in and wants to, impose his own artistic vision into this live show. It's not necessarily what she wants. There's a lot of external pressure, a lot of industry pressure surrounding her at this time, trying to, capitalize off of Brat and the success of Brat. And yeah, I feel like it's a kind of an interesting, I guess we can call it a concert film, kind of. It's definitely more interesting than your standard, concert film that's kind of just doing fan service. I don't really feel like that's what this is. It feels like it has a bit more to say than that. But also at times I felt like this thought it was smarter than it actually is. So yeah, there's parts I loved, parts I didn't love so much about this. The ending's pretty great though, and there's some good humor in this as well. So if you're a fan of Charli XCX, I definitely recommend checking this out. Next thing I watched here was Sentimental Value. I gave this 4 stars. I enjoyed this quite a bit. This is a French film directed by Joachim Trier, I think his name is. Hopefully I said that right. This was nominated for quite a bit of, I actually don't even know how many Oscars it was nominated for, but that's kind of why I watched it. I have heard a lot about this film from last year, so I wanted to check it out, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's a very interesting story, and it offers a very interesting perspective into filmmaking itself. Our main character here being Stellan Skarsgård, who is a film director, and he's included his family in the past, and he's making a new film, and he's trying to get his family in on this new film as well. It dives into the relationship between this family, the working relationship with this family, but also how the daughters kind of resent the father to a certain degree, because of him kind of prioritizing them as actors rather than, actual children or actual family. So it has a lot to say in that regard. All around, pretty solid performances, great cinematography, great pacing to this. Is a little bit slower, but I think most people would find something to enjoy about this. Next thing I watched here was Bohemian Rhapsody. I absolutely despise this. I hated this. I can't really find anything positive to say about this at all, to be honest. This is obviously a biopic about Queen. Kind of mostly focuses on Freddie Mercury. To be honest, I'm not too tapped into Queen. Haven't listened to too much of their music. Not the biggest fan or anything, but I do know how, colorful and eccentric of a figure Freddie Mercury was, and they absolutely depict him and portray him in the most bland and boring way possible in this film, and I think that's my main issue with it. It's just so bland, it's so formulaic, the editing is horrible. I really honestly don't like Rami Malek's performance. Is he kind of embodying Freddie Mercury realistically? Yeah, but his performance also at times feels a little bit over the top and a little bit forced, in my opinion. It just feels like fan service and doesn't go any deeper than just playing the hits, It just, sure, it dives into the turmoil of the band, the conflict between the members, but I just feel like you could do so much more with something like this, and they just did not. Then I rewatched Marty Supreme. Timothy. I was really sad he didn't get the Oscar, I'm going to be honest. Michael B. Jordan's great, don't get me wrong. His performance in Sinners, sure, but I was pulling for Timmy, you know, so I kind of wanted to rewatch this just to watch that performance again. And it actually grew on me. I originally had this at 4 stars, bumped it up half a star. Yeah, I mean, it's so good in all aspects. I mean, the writing is fantastic. The humor is just excellent. The editing, the pacing, the urgency of this film, the production design, it's so grimy, but it feels so true to that era, true to the 50s too, and it has aura, man. I'm gonna say it. That's such a corny thing to say, but it has aura. And I've seen some discourse around this, mainly Anthony Fantano, saying that, you know, this Marty Supreme does not deserve the success that he kind of achieves at the end of the film, but I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on that. I don't want to go too deep into it, but the one thing that stuck out to me on this watch is that, like, realization that he didn't really even achieve much, right? Like, he beat Endo, spoilers, he beat Endo in, like, not even a real match, right? Like, this was just an impromptu match out of nowhere. Marty basically forces Endo into this game, and, you know, he wins. Good for Marty, he wins. It's kind of a bittersweet moment, but taking a step back, you look at it, it's like, did he really achieve much? No, and at what cost at the same time? Like, sure, he goes back to his daughter. It kind of ends in an uplifting, hopeful way, but I don't think this film is trying to condone Marty's actions throughout this entire movie, and I just think that's a lazy way to look at it. Next thing I watched here was Frankenstein. I gave this 3 stars. Yeah, I think the second half of this film is a lot better than the first half. I think the stuff with Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein's monster is easily like way better than the stuff with Oscar Isaac with Frankenstein. This film has a look to it that just feels a bit too clean, in my opinion. Like, the set design all just feels a little bit too sanitary. Everything just feels a little like, even the house, the huge house that this guy lives in, the costumes all just feel a little bit too clean. And I get that these guys are like, or most of the characters in this film are like rich and wealthy, right? But I don't know, a lot of the world in this film felt a little bit plastic to me. I really didn't enjoy the cinematography. I mean, like, some of the cinematography is good. I just don't like this like weird floating camera style that's going on throughout the entire thing. There's really no distinct visual style to this film at all. But like I said, the story itself is good. I mean, you're pulling from classic material, so it's gonna be good. I think, again, Jacob Elordi's performance here is excellent. And that whole segment of him finding his way in the wild, he stumbles upon this family who he eventually develops a relationship with this old guy. It's really touching, really beautiful, but some of the technical aspects of it kind of just threw me off a little bit, and I wasn't loving it. Next thing I watched here was It Was Just an Accident, directed by Jafar Panahi, I think it is. Was this nominated for some Oscars? I think it was, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. So yeah, I wanted to check this out. This is a film made in Iran. Crazy story behind this film. The director of this is actually facing a prison sentence in Iran, which is crazy because obviously this film deals with a lot of political themes and kind of, you know, exposes the government and whatnot in Iran for its corruption. Crazy real life implications around this film, but the film itself is excellent. At times, a lot more humorous than I expected it to be. I think some of the humor gets a little bit lost in translation, just a cultural barrier, but some of it also clicks and just hit really well. I love all the characters in this film. I feel like each one has so much color and personality to them. They all feel so distinct, and like so much care was put into each one. There's an unbelievable sequence towards the end of this film where they have their captor tied up against a tree, and it's one take, one shot where they kind of interrogate him, and it really shows the humanity of this film for both sides, for both the captor and for these victims. It really paints it in a very unbiased and just humanist light. Like, it really doesn't take sides, like I said, and it really shows that, you know, everybody, no matter how horrible a thing you do, everybody is human at the end of the day, and it's not trying to like create sympathy for that in like a dismissive way to the victims, but it's just really a mature look at these dynamics. So I really enjoyed this film. Next thing I watched here, I saw this in theaters, Project Hail Mary. I gave this 3.5 stars. This film was really hyped up going into it, so I had high expectations. It didn't fully meet them. This is like definitely like a crowd pleaser of a movie. Like 95% of people are gonna love this, and I liked it. Don't get me wrong, I definitely enjoyed it. It's got the humor. It's got Ryan Gosling being a goofy guy. It's got space. People love space. It's got a good score, great visual effects. It's got a cute buddy companion kind of feel to it with Rocky, of course, the alien Rocky. It has all that going for it, and it's great because of that. I think the dynamic between Rocky and Ryan Gosling's character is fantastic throughout this entire movie. Really had me cracking up throughout a lot of it. One of my main gripes with this is just the lack of Sandra Hüller in this movie. I feel like they could have done so much more with her because she's such a great actress. The little bit of screen time and development that she has is great. I think the karaoke scene with the Harry Styles song is like easily my favorite scene in the film. I don't know why, but I think it gave it a level of seriousness and a level of like, I don't know, sincerity that I felt like was missing from the rest of the film. Like obviously you want Ryan Gosling to be funny, but I just felt like sometimes they were going for humor when it didn't need to be there, when they could have gone for something a little bit more sincere. The ending was a little bit messy as well, a little bit clunky. It felt like it was going to end like 10 different times before it actually did end. But yeah, for the most part, I really enjoyed this. Definitely something that you got to see in theaters. Next thing I watched here was Wuthering Heights. I gave this 2.5 stars. Honestly, kind of enjoyed this more than I expected to. I have seen a lot of negative things about this. This is obviously directed by Emerald Fennell. Obviously, she directed Saltburn as well, which is another film that I didn't enjoy and a lot of people didn't enjoy. This has a lot of the similar issues as Saltburn, a lot of that being in the writing. I feel like the writing is really weak. It's really immature, but it also kind of has a snobbiness to it where it thinks, again, it's smarter than it is. Obviously, this film looks brilliant. Some of these scenes are unbelievable. I mean, you got two beautiful people, of course. I mean, you have to. Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie. Their chemistry's all right, I guess. Like, I don't fully buy their chemistry, actually, in this film. Obviously, this is based off, like, a classic novel that I haven't read, but I've heard that this does not really faithfully adapt that at all. It does feel very TikTok core, It's got Charlie XCX doing the music, and the music's actually great. Like, that's easily the best part of this. Charlie XCX kind of snapped with the music, but it just feels like it's kind of trying too hard to be edgy at times with little substance at all. Next thing I watched here was Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. I gave this 2.5 stars. I watched this with my family, so there you go. This was not my choice to watch this. We put this on, and there you go. It's kind of a war movie, kind of a revenge story in a way, but just not really for me. Kind of really bland, really kind of like a guy's guy movie, really for the guys. Jake Gyllenhaal offers kind of a decent performance, I guess, but it's nothing mind-blowing from him. The direction here is a little bit stale. Doesn't really have much of a voice to it, in my opinion. And yeah, just a little bit generic. So there you go. I do not really have much else to say about this film at all. If you like war movies, maybe go check it out. But if that's not really your thing, I don't know. Maybe don't watch this. Next thing I rewatched here, actually, this is the second time I've seen it, Black Swan. I gave this 4.5 stars. The first time I watched this, I gave it 4 stars. Went up half a star for me. This film is just so efficient. It's so fast. It's crazy. It's like, an hour and 40 minutes. It feels like something like this should be like over 2 hours, but it's just so efficient with what it's doing and what it's saying here, but it also doesn't feel like it's underbaked or undercooked in any way or unfinished. It's really blew me away on a second watch, just the pacing of this. And again, like, no wasted time at all, but also enough like little moments with characters that help build out the overall feel of the movie and the overall themes of it. The horror elements are really well done. The little kind of body horror elements are really visceral and really gripping. Obviously, Natalie Portman is beautiful throughout this entire film, but she plays such a, like, I don't know, I feel like the development of her character in this film is really interesting. From this very timid, very shy, very innocent girl to eventually, you know, her commitment to the Black Swan, being the Swan Queen. She has to embrace that darker side of herself, and I feel like she does that in such a nuanced way, a gradual way. It doesn't happen right away. It really doesn't happen until like the last 10 minutes of the film. But this thing just keeps you on the edge of your seat. Really, really good. All right, next thing I rewatched here, I wanted to show my family this movie. My sister liked it, which is good, but I don't think, I mean, my mom fell asleep in it, so Nirvana the band, the show, the movie, just continuing to love this on a rewatch. It feels very inspiring for me, you know, kind of a small crew of guys here that went out and shot this absolute behemoth of a film. Such a good time, so hilarious, so sweet, so heartfelt, and just such a good time. So go check it out if you haven't already seen it. Last thing I watched here was Surat. I gave this 4 stars. This is kind of a film about a dad and a son looking for their daughter. They run into, or actually they find this group of like rave goers. Is that what you call them? People that dance to electronic music, ravers? People having a rave in the desert. They suspect that their daughter is there. They end up following this group of people through the desert. You know, they're going through the desert. They're simultaneously being kind of chased by the military at the same time. A lot of crazy stuff happens. People die. Shit gets crazy. I don't want to spoil it fully, but man, just a harrowing film here. I love how you like don't really know where it's going. It doesn't telegraph itself. Like it feels like a very like slow paced, like it's gonna be kind of focused on these relationships between the characters and very like existentialist emotional themes between the characters. And it definitely has that, but then all of a sudden the shit hits the fan, you know, and then that stuff kind of gets pushed aside, but then it's kind of interwoven back in after that, and it's just, I don't know, it's really well done in that sense. Yeah, I'm sure it has a lot to say that I'm not even picking up on, or I didn't even realize on a first watch, but the music itself throughout this entire thing is fantastic. This like dark, dingy, pulsating music is really an interesting kind of juxtaposition to the vast like desert landscapes throughout the film. So if you're looking for something that's harrowing, dark, but also heartfelt and introspective and philosophical at times, definitely go check this thing out. And there you go. That's what I watched this month. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.